Hey there, this is Daniel Johnson Jr. from GetThatJobOnline.com and DanielJohnsonJr.com with another video update for NAPODPOMO, National Podcasters Post Month. You can find more information about that over at NAPODPOMO.ning.com. And what I've been doing is, I talked about in earlier days when I've been doing this series, is releasing a video update of how I might answer some of the typical job interviewing questions. You know, there's a lot of us that are looking for work right now, and it's good practice. That's what I'm finding. That's what I'm using this series for. Expect a lot of things to be rough. I'm going to stutter. I'm going to say ums and ahs, and I'm just going to leave that stuff in there because this is designed for just practice, not to relieve me of responsibility for how I might, to prepare on how I might answer some of these questions, but it's also just useful to throw out there and see, just to show some other people how questions might be answered. From what I've heard from some of you that are watching this is something that you really are appreciating and you're liking what you're seeing. If you do have questions that you'd like for me to try to answer, or want to know how I might answer something, get in touch. You can send them via email to Daniel@GetThatJobOnline.com, or you can go over to GetThatJobOnline.com and hit up the contact page and send something there. Was Chris, who had asked me to ask a question, what is your biggest weakness? I did that yesterday, so thanks a lot, Chris, for getting in touch and asking how I'd respond to that question. Let's see, today is November the 5th, so this is the day 5 of this series, and the question for today, let me just take a quick look over here. The question is, what would your previous coworkers say about you? What would your previous coworkers say about you? Before I answer this question, I'd like to talk a little bit about how I prepare for it. I think that, collecting any email feedback or verbal feedback, any kind of feedback or performance reviews or what have you that you at any previous jobs, or LinkedIn recommendations. Hopefully you're on LinkedIn. You can find me over at www.linkedin.com/in/Daniel Johnson Jr. I'll put a link in the show notes for that. To solicit recommendations from work that you've done. And this doesn't necessarily have to be paid work that you've worked at for a job. It could be volunteer experience. Any work that you've ever done, and if you have recommendations, that could be considered how you could use that and how you might answer this question. So I was asked, what would your previous coworkers say about you? Again, using this document and compiling along with all this into a document, I put a link to a particular blog post I wrote about why you should have a document like this. It's useful for this particular question. So what would my previous coworkers say about me? Well, last job that I worked at, we helped to manage 401k information and send that off to a third-party administrator. We had changed the third-party administrator. The controller had gotten in touch with me saying that with the application, the tool that they were using to collect that information and send it off needed to be updated. When it came time to the end of the year, when it needed to be updated for the following year, he didn't come and ask me that it needed to be updated. I went ahead and I updated it, and then I sent him an email saying the application's been updated, it's already out there for you to use. And the controller got back in touch with me and said, wow, thanks for thinking ahead of me. That was really nice forward thinking, and so he appreciated that. And again, I like that was a kind of a good opportunity to use what they call your problem action results, or challenge action results, or situation task action results, types of stories that you hear talked about that you should prepare for any kind of interview. And of course, you always want to put, with this kind of question, you always want to answer something in a positive light. That's why I pointed back to some of those positive feedback types of sources that you have. So again, this is Daniel Johnson Jr. You can again check out GetThatJobOnline.com. These are also being posted over to YouTube.com and shared throughout the internet. Get in touch with me. Let me know what you think about this. If you have a job interview question that you'd like for me to try to answer, again, these are being answered in a very broad sense, so it's hard for a particular job, and a lot of these questions would be customized for a specific type of job that I'd be interviewing for. But just let me know, and I'll try to answer them, and do get in touch. GetThatJobOnline.com is the website, and DanielJohnsonJr.com for things about me. If you haven't checked out HowIGotMyJob.com, it's another shameless plug there for that. But I mean, this is real people and sharing how they got their jobs. So Again, Daniel Johnson Jr. coming to you from Cincinnati, Ohio, beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio, saying, until next time, make it a great day.